All right, y'all, welcome to the show. So in just a second, Elon Musk is plotting the destruction of Social Security. This time he has an assist from congressional Republicans as well. In fact, they're going to target Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So we'll talk about that. Then we'll get to Donald Trump doing Elon's dirty work and smearing the anti-scam police, the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I'll break that down for you. There's also an assault on at-home workers. So, Trump and Elon are totally against that. And there was a directive that all government workers have to show up to an office. So more on that. There's a lot to say about that. Then, of course, we have another Joe Rogan video, or as I'm now calling his show, the Elon Musk Suckfest experience. And later on, a CNN guest drops relentless truth bombs on their head over what Trump is going to do in Gaza, and Tesla sales the world over are absolutely imploding. Gee, I wonder why that is. Can't quite figure it out. All right, so we'll talk about all that and more. So everybody do me a big favor, please subscribe. That's below. It helps out massively, helps push these videos out through the algorithm. And thank you to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. It means the world. Literally couldn't do it without you guys. We are real independent media, not fake independent media. So we're reliant on your $5 a month or whatever it happens to be, because I've never talked to an advertiser once, and I never will. Okay, let's get into it. Guys, they're now saying the quiet part out loud. The Republicans are. That's what they're doing. So here we have a Republican congressman, Riley Moore of West Virginia, and he went on Fox Business Network, and he's going to let you know, hey, this is on the top of our list for Republicans. The things we want to do, this is one of the main ones. Ready for it? Here we go.
Opportunity here in unified government to actually address mandatory spending.
Yeah.
Mandatory spending is the biggest driver of the debt in this country. And
so Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that's what he's talking about.
So we have to address that. And that's what the House Republicans are so solely focused on, while taking care of all these other agenda items that we've discussed, taxes and all the like.
That's code word for, we're trying to cut taxes for rich people again. Multi-millionaires and billionaires and corporations, we're working on taxes. But also, don't worry, we're taking a look at mandatory spending, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, which they want to cut.
I do believe that there will be an effort to cut into mandatory spending in order to get some offsets for some of the spending in the reconciliation bill.
Yes, that's what we've been discussing. And as I said, I think this is our once in a lifetime opportunity. You see government shutdowns over discretionary spending all the time in the appropriations bills. Just to be clear, discretionary spending is only 26% of every dollar that's spent annually in the United States. So we got nearly.
Okay, let me just say, he's using a lot of legal jargon here to not tell you the plain face reality of what they're planning to do. Right? So what he's talking about, it's only 26% of the budget. There he's talking about everything that's not Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. So in other words, that includes defense. And he's like, bro, I don't know why we go after that stuff, bro. That'd be kind of crazy to go after that stuff, bro. It's such a small part of the budget. Excuse me. We're talking about like $900 billion, right, per year. And then on top of that, the Pentagon can't account for 61% of its money. They failed 7 audits in a row. If you actually gave a shit about cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, as Republicans say they do all the time, you got to cut the Pentagon budget like in half, bro. In half. And he's like, I wouldn't touch that. That's only 26% of the budget. Why would we do that? That's crazy. Let's look at this mandatory spending, which is, again, the Republican way of obfuscating the reality that what they want to do is cut Medicare, which is healthcare for old people, Medicaid, which is healthcare for low-income people and disabled people, and Social Security, which is grandma and grandpa's check to make sure they don't go into poverty in their senior years.
And if we don't address that, we're in a world of hurt. You got 75% of it's mandatory.
So he's like, bro, we got to do something about this debt. And when I say that, what I mean is, let's add more debt by cutting taxes for Elon Musk and his robber baron buddies, but also cut grandma's health care. Oh, great. Thank you. Again, guys, I know I've said this before, but you really need to understand. If we didn't have, let's say, political debates, if we didn't have these politicians bullshitting you on TV, and the political parties just had to write down, hey, here are the policies that we support, and here are the policies that we've done. If they just had to write it down bullet point style, and you read it, only like 10% of the country would vote Republican. Because if they're being honest, right, again, he's obfuscating, but, mandatory spending. We need to look at, like, he's finding weaselly ways to say, we want to cut healthcare for old people, healthcare for low-income people, and grandma and grandpa's tiny check so they don't go into poverty when they're 87 years old. That's the plain-faced way of saying it, but he's refusing to do that on purpose. But if you had to write it all out, people look at it and go, I don't want that. I don't want that. All right, more. So look at this, guys. House Republicans just released their budget resolution, which keys up their reconciliation bills. So reconciliation bills, you only need 51 votes to get something passed. It's not the 60. When the opposition invokes a filibuster, then you need 60 votes or more to get something through. But reconciliation means all you need is 51. And I forget the exact number, but you get like 3 or 4 cracks at that for different bills, throughout the term. But so they want to do this through reconciliation, which would avoid filibuster. And here's their budget resolution. They're calling for a cut to Medicaid of at least $880 billion, healthcare for poor people and disabled people, $880 billion cut, and they want to cut SNAP, which is the food stamp program, by at least 20%. Now, remember, guys, what we're talking about here, this is Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate, like actually working on a bill that has to pass Congress and then get signed by the president. Like, this is actually the legislative process functioning as it's supposed to. But what we're missing is we've now crossed the Rubicon. And so at the same time these conversations are happening, Elon Musk is already axing government agencies he doesn't like illegally on the back end at the Treasury. All those cuts to USAID, all those the elimination of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the anti-scam police. So I got a million criticisms of this. Every single policy point the Republicans want to do is bad. But at least these guys are, hey, here's our proposal, which we then have to vote on. Elon's like, no, I'm an authoritarian God King dictator, and I just illegally hacked the Treasury and illegally hacked a bunch of government agencies. And oh, look at that, I dismantled the Department of Education unconstitutionally. How you like them apples? So not only are they coming for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security through the budgetary process, but also, take a look at this, Newsweek. Elon Musk issues major Social Security warning. Billionaire Elon Musk said there is widespread fraud taking place in the payment of federal entitlements like Social Security. By the way, let's be clear, he's lying. He's lying. He's given a couple anecdotes. Oh, we looked through the code and it turns out, oh, you mean you illegally were looking through the code? And some people are 150 years old and they're getting Social Security checks. Really? Do you have any evidence to present to this effect at all? Do you understand the first fucking thing about how this actually works? My guess is no, right? Because he's lied about everything else. So why would he tell the truth about this? He's looking for ways to illegally make cuts to these programs more. Social Security benefits are paid to more than 70 million Americans on a monthly basis and help form the bedrock of income for many retirees, survivors of deceased claimants, and disabled people. Musk, who was selected by President Donald Trump to head up the non-official DOGE, has been tasked with streamlining government processes and cutting spending. Okay, look, Newsweek, get your shit together. This is not how you describe it. He has illegally hacked into our government systems, and on a daily basis, he's doing things which are totally unauthorized. Don't talk about it like it's just another thing. This is normalizing it. But critics have raised alarm about an unelected official gaining access to the payment records and personal details of Americans. Oh, you don't say. Musk wrote on X on February 11th. Ready? At this point, I am 100% certain that the magnitude of the fraud in federal entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, disability, etc., exceeds the combined sum of every private scam you've ever heard by far, and it's not even close. Not only is this a lie, this is an egregious lie. You want to know the reality? You want to know where there's fraud in any of these systems? So Medicare has a private aspect to it, Medicare Part D. That's where all the fraud is. When you get these for-profit actors as a middleman who overcharge the government and make way more profit, that's where the fraud is. For everything that's actually public, way lower fraud. For everything, once you get private business involved, which is what Medicare Part D is, that's the fraud. So if Elon was being honest, and he was like, oh yeah, we're going after waste, fraud, and abuse, well then the thing he would say, oh, all the fraud is in Medicare Part D. We should have never privatized this. We should have left it with original Medicare all along. He's not going to do that. You know he's not going to do that. I know he's not going to do that. Want to know why? He's a robber baron. And he wants to do mass privatization of everything. He wants to Medicare Part D-ify every area of government. So him and his robber baron buddies can get a cut of it. That's what they're doing here. That's what they're doing. It follows another post from February 8th in which Musk said he was told there are currently over $100 billion per year of entitlement payments to individuals with no social security number or even temporary ID number. I literally cannot, I don't have the words to properly explain to you just how much of a lie that is. This is an astonishing lie. This is a stunning lie. They're trying to pretend like, oh, illegal immigrants are getting Social Security. No, they're not. They're not able to. Oh, my God. According to the official Social Security Administration website, you need a Social Security number to work, collect Social Security benefits, and receive certain government services. In other words, they're like, this motherfucker's lying. He's lying. Quote, if accurate, this is extremely suspicious. Even he puts Mr. Brazen Liar, even he puts the qualifier because he knows he's full of shit. Musk said, as he explained several steps agreed between DOGE and the Treasury Department for making future payments, including use of a rationale for the payment in the comment field and categorization codes. So understand, guys, what he's doing here is what he's done with Twitter, what he does with a bunch of his businesses. He comes in like a bull in a china shop. He slashes like crazy, breaks a bunch of shit, and then has to depend later on other people to pick up the pieces and fix it. But the difference is, when we're dealing with these systems, they cannot fail. We cannot have hiccups in these systems because people's lives are in danger if you do that, right? People can't afford to miss a Social Security payment. They can't afford to lose their health care, right? But he's willy-nilly slashing around in there. And of course, in his mind, they want to run the government like a business. But again, that is the dumbest idea possible. And everybody needs to immediately reject anybody who says that. Reject them on every issue from now until the end of time. Why? Because it's literally polar opposites. A business runs to make a profit. The government runs for the good of the community and to take care of the commons and take care of the basics. You could not have more polar opposite philosophies than those philosophies, right? But run it like a business. I mean, this guy is doing an endless amount of damage. Like I said, he destroyed the anti-scam police. Why? Because they were going to regulate him. Oh my God. When I asked if anyone at Treasury had a rough guess for what percentage of that number is unequivocal and obvious fraud, the consensus in the room was about half. So $50 billion a year or $1 billion a week. This is utter insanity and must be addressed immediately. Okay, guys, he is laying the groundwork for him to casually cut Social Security payments in half and say, oh, bro, I just went after waste, fraud, and abuse, bro. That's all I was doing. Yeah, well, good luck telling that to the hundreds of thousands or millions of people rioting in the streets because you just shoved a whole bunch of seniors into poverty. Guys, the senior poverty rate before Social Security was over 30%. I believe it was 34-ish%. That's the senior poverty rate before Social Security. After Social Security, it plummeted to 10%. It is because of wildly successful government programs like this that we are a civilized society. If he's talking about laying the groundwork to casually slash these payments in half, holy shit, does he have no idea what he's getting himself into. Because remember, this is always their dodge, right? Oh, we're just going after the waste, fraud, and abuse. Really? How was getting rid of the entire anti-scam police going after waste, fraud, and abuse? Their whole purpose was to stop fraud. For every dollar you put into the CFPB, you get back $20 because people who were scammed get their money back. It's got nothing to do with waste, fraud, abuse. He is an anti-government fundamentalist, an anti-government extremist. He agrees with Javier Milei. He's an anarcho-capitalist. He wants you to have no government support whatsoever, but he also wants himself to run out the back door with all the money because he's going to loot the treasury. At the same time he was dismantling the Department of Education, did you know this? SpaceX was getting a multi-million-dollar deal to get more taxpayer money. What happened? What happened? Oh, Mr. Anti, I'm going after the government, bro. I'm going to slash everything left and right, bro. Oh, is it my stuff? That I want to keep. You know where else he gets money? Ready for this? U.S. aid. Elon Musk has gotten millions of dollars in U.S. aid money. Why? For the Starlink satellites that he sent to Ukraine. I believe that's what it was. But here he is, slashing everything in sight. Oh, would you look at that? He still wants his government subsidies. Oh, isn't that sweet? So I'm going to cut your grandma's Social Security check by 50%, but I can get even more government money. This guy wants a revolution, bro. This guy wants a revolution. Musk's recent moves on the SSA, Social Security Administration, have been met with considerable criticism, particularly from Democratic lawmakers and Social Security advocacy groups. Several members of Congress, along with SSA beneficiaries and others, staged a rally outside the SSA offices in Washington, D.C., following a February 6th report by Semaphore outlining that DOGE is currently preparing to work with the SSA. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, bro. They're doing it. Their plans include stuff like this. Ready? Republicans are talking about raising your student loan payments by $200 a month to pay for tax cuts for billionaires and corporations. It's time for the 60% of voters, including a majority of Republicans, who hate this idea to get very, very loud. So understand, guys, this is the plan. This is the plan. The plan is we're going to cut Medicare, we're going to cut Medicaid, we're going to cut Social Security, we're going to increase your student loan payments, we're going to gut the entire social safety net, we're going to cut back on stuff like Meals on Wheels and home heating assistance. That's where we're going to find trillions of dollars in savings. But at the same time, we're going to effectively give a massive subsidy of trillions of dollars to the wealthiest billionaires and robber barons and corporations. This is government of, by, and for the plutocrats and the oligarchs. That's what it is. And he's not hiding it. They're really not hiding it. The Republicans try to, mandatory spending versus discretionary spending versus non-defense discretionary spending. They try to cloak it in all this jargon so you don't know the plain-faced reality of what they're doing. What they're doing is very simple. It's very straightforward. Every program that helps regular people is on the chopping block. And the cuts might come through a bill that goes through Congress, or it might be Elon Musk pushing a button, right? Illegally. It could come either way, and it could come both ways. But that's what they're doing. And you pay close attention, because as I said, all this is verified, all this is backed up. As they come to cut everything for you, it's more tax cuts and more subsidies for Elon Musk and all of his robber baron buddies, and Donald Trump, Mark Andreessen, Mark Zuckerberg. All of these fucking assholes are going to loot the treasury as your grandma starves because he decided, 50% cut on your money. Tee-hee-hee. Too bad. Suck it up, grandma. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.